Dora and the Search for Dorado was released in 2025. This is directed by Alberto Belli. It's written by JT Billings, and we have a cast including Samantha Lorraine as Dora. We have Jacob Rodriguez as Diego, and I enjoyed this. I watched this primarily because I am currently trying to learn Spanish. I'm always keen to check out Dora the Explorer whenever it pops up anywhere. There's not a lot of Spanish in this. Not enough that I didn't know what was going on. But there were a few words I picked up that made some sense to me, so I was quite happy about that. But it's an adventure story, and I'd say it's good. I enjoyed it. It's definitely, I'd say, slightly more of a children's film than a family film, which is not what I was expecting, because Dora the Explorer is very much a children's show. So I'm not sure who the audience for this is, as I don't think the very young children who watch Dora the Explorer the most would necessarily find this the most engaging. They might. I'm not an expert on children, but certainly I feel like this is a bit of a step up in terms of the story, the complexity of the narrative, being able to follow it. The visuals are obviously quite different to Dora the Explorer because that's animated. This is live action. But it still feels like a children's film. And the story itself is pretty well written. Dora, Diego, and various others are going through the jungle to try and find this treasure, and it's quite a quest. There are a lot of obstacles they overcome, a lot of personal problems they have to overcome, and I'd say it's generally a well-written narrative. It's about an hour and a half, and it does manage to sustain itself for the duration of the entire film. There are a lot of things happening, so in general I thought the narrative was very well handled. The characters are perfectly likeable. I haven't seen enough Dora the Explorer. It was a little after my time, so I've only caught bits and pieces here and there. I haven't seen enough to say this is a brilliant representation of the character, but certainly there are a lot of elements in this that come from the animation, so that definitely worked quite well as well. It feels like Dora the Explorer. I think the character would be recognisable, and I feel like, purely my own opinion, but I think maybe it could be a good film for children when they're ready to kind of progress from those preschool shows to a film that's maybe aimed at children just a slightly little bit older, but with a character they know and love. So I think it could be quite effective for that. The music is brilliant. Visually, it looks great. So there's a little bit of Spanish in there as well, but not too much. And in fact, I think the first word in the film might have been Spanish. I think the first word was soy. I could be mistaken. It was certainly very early on in the film. But in general, the film's in English. And I thought it was not too bad at all. I think it's a good film for the whole family. But as I said, it feels maybe slightly a little bit more like a children's film. But in general, a good, fun adventure film for anybody of all ages. You absolutely do not need to have ever seen Dora the Explorer to follow this, to watch this, to enjoy this. I think for older viewers, it's a nice, easy, relaxing watch. It's a decent narrative, well executed, great characters, solid performances, visually very appealing. And for younger children, I think it could be definitely could be a good experience as well. So I'm happy with it. I thought Dora and the Search for Dorado was a decent film, good narrative, well executed. I'm still not fully sure of who the target audience is. Definitely children, but in terms of the age range, not 100% sure. But either way, if it sounds like it would appeal to you, then I'd say give it a go. It's a fun watch. It's a nice adventure. Dora and the Search for Dorado is definitely not a bad film.